Hey everybody, welcome to the video where I'm breaking down the Autotrader Echo Park Automotive 500 Texas Motor Speedway. That is quite the title of a race that is to take place on Sunday, October 17th at around 2 p.m. Eastern. And yes, I know 1.5 mile track, not the most exciting out there, but for DFS purposes, they are a lot more predictable than most track types. So we usually know who the top dogs are going to be at the 550 horsepower package races at the 1.5 mile tracks. And if you do find this video helpful in any way possible, make sure to leave a like, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. If you want to take that one step further, become an official member over on Patreon. Link is down below in the description for that. I do know the season is coming to a close, but I do cover other sports over there as well in a similar fashion. Spreadsheets, optimizers, ownership projections, cheat sheets, Discord community, all that fun stuff. We got a couple hundred people over there. I'd be more than happy to have you. Have NBA starting very, very soon. We're right in the middle of football season, so lots of extra content going over on the Patreon that I think you will enjoy. And last but not least, this video is sponsored by PrizePicks. I'm sure most of you know what it is by now, but if you don't, it's daily fantasy sports simplified, just you versus the projections. There's no sharks, 150 max contests, or salary cap restrictions or anything like that. Just you versus the props they offer each and every single day. Now, as of right now, if you're signing over there, you can get a free money bonus. That's an instant deposit match up to $100, so it's free money. Want to use it to your advantage, when you use code CPEN and tell them I sent you. I do offer PrizePicks projections on the spreadsheet and some of my favorite plays in the article. And we do discuss in the Discord for other sports too, not just NASCAR. So if you want to check it out, I think it's a very fun place to play over in addition to what you do on DraftKings each and every single week. But I think that's it for the plugs for the most part. So without further ado, let's dive into today's video. And as always, I want to mention a few things before I get started. So first up, obviously no live stream this weekend. I am not competing with Football Sunday. Live streams will be back starting next season for either the Duels, Clash, or Daytona 500, whatever you guys prefer. But I'm definitely looking forward to them because I truly do miss our live streams as they were like one of the highlights of my week. So they'll be coming back, but obviously not going to compete with NFL Sunday, especially for a 2 p.m. start time. And second off, if you guys want to join the DraftKings contest that I host each and every single week, all you got to do is comment your DK's name down below. I'm more than happy to have you. You'll get an invite from a Tucker Bears 03 Don't Ask Questions bot. That's who you'll be receiving an invite from if you do comment your name down below. But as always, I'm doing a shout out the winners from last week, so I'll tell them on the screen right about now. And coming in first place, taking on the gold and a good chunk of change, we have J Stone UK in first. And taking home the silver, we had a three-way tie, which I want to say was my projection optimal in the optimizer this week. I believe 283.4, which was what it spit out. We have my man Trey, who I feel like has been in the top 5 for the past 3 weeks now. AskCap also in second, Fire 209 as well. Then right in the bubble, we have Draft Younglings, I believe that's how you pronounce it, Peachy Late in 6th. Sean Trailer, who knows in my Discord, is in 7th. Drez Drafts in 8th. Sports Guy 1 in 9th. And then Euro Power 6. Also in my Discord, better known as Wyatt, rounding out the top 10 there. So shout out to you guys who made fantastic laps last weekend. I'd be more than happy to have you for this one as well. But I think that's it for the housekeeping, so let's dive right into the preview of this week's race. And as previously mentioned, this is the Autotrader Echo Park Automotive 500 at Texas Motor Speedway. This is your typical 1.5 intermediate track. Tire wear, not too much of an issue here. 334 laps, which is more than our regular 267 that we see at 1.5. So this is a bit of a longer race. It's probably going to feel pretty long when you're watching it. And we have around 230 some diameter points available to us, which means, yes, diameter points are going to be important this week. Last week we had a road course, diameter points, not too much of an issue there, mainly place differential and finishing position. And what? Mainly place differential and finishing position. While those are important this week, you're definitely going to nail those top diameters, or you're going to have no chance at all taking down a tournament. So diameters, quite important. I would say at least 2 per lap, unless Kyle Larson happens to lead like 330. But even then, secondary dominator is more of a guy that just picks up fast laps and gets a strong finish throughout the race. So dominator points, very, very important this weekend. But I think that's it for the previews. So let's dive right into the driver breakdown portion of this week's video. And my overall thoughts on the pricing this weekend, DraftKings screwed up. There's some pretty poor pricing. Kyle Larson is way too cheap at $10,500. I think we all know that starting the pool. Lots of lap slot opportunity, and we have over 330 laps available to us. So I'm not sure what the pricing is there because he is the most likely driver to dominate win this race. He's the odds-on favorite in Vegas. He's been great at these track types all season long. I don't know, just some odd pricing here. Kevin Harvick, yes, I realize there's some place differential, but I don't think he should be more than Kyle Larson. I think everybody can agree with that. He's not even in the playoffs right now. Then some of the other pricing is kind of all over the place, and we'll talk about that a little bit. Just definitely think there's some underpriced drivers this weekend that have a lot of high upside. So we'll start top with Kevin Harvick, $10,900. He's starting in 24th. Is he a safe place differential play? Yes, he's very good at Texas. The problem is, I'd say there's a 0% chance, maybe not a 0% chance, but pretty close to it that he leads laps in this race. I just don't see it happening. Because if we look at his numbers this season, he is exactly 0 laps led in this package, which I believe is a 10 race sample size. He's had some decent finishes, 3 top 5s and 7 top 10s, but when you're nearly $11,000, we need some potential dominator points somewhere. I mean, starting in 24th can negate that a little bit, But for a 334 lap race, if drivers are going to lead 100 plus laps, like a guy like Larson or Hamm or Kyle Busch or someone like that starting inside the top 5, they cannot score those potential place differential points. And if we're looking at Harvick's finishes, the last, 6 intermediate tracks, 9th, 14th, 11th, 10th, 2nd, and 10th. So it's not like he's getting a ton of top 5s and nearly winning races. He's just having good, solid races, which is fine for real life, but for DFS, we need a lot more than that. Not to say I'm full fade in the guy, but I don't think he's a cash game lock or anything, even though it is Kevin Harvick at Texas. I mean, 2 wins the past 6 races, 4 top 5s, the most laps led, the most fast laps. You guys get the idea, but the recent track history for Kevin Harvick is not translated into this season, especially this deep into the year, not in the playoffs, mainly focusing on ruining Chase Elliott's day. I just don't see myself landing on too much Kevin Harvick for this race. Kyle Larson at $10,500, kind of already hinted at this. His numbers at Texas don't look amazing, but he has been by far the best driver in this package this year, by far the best driver at 1.5s. He's by far averaging the most DraftKings points per race at 82, with Kyle Busch being second at 63. He's got 2 wins, 6 top 5s, which is actually below Kyle Busch, but the big thing here is the dominator points. 101.6 laps led per race, 40.6 fast laps. The guy in second is Denny here at 24.5 laps led, and then second is William Byrne for 21.1 fast laps. So he's just a tier above everybody else. We're like 3 tiers above everybody else when it comes to dominating at these track types. And starting in the pool, for a race that has a ton of laps, you can sign him up for all the Kyle Larson I can handle. He's way too cheap at $10,500. If he was nearly $12,000, I would say he'd still probably be one of my highest owned drivers in the entire slate. But at $10,500, expect him to be super chalky. I'm saying probably going to push upwards to 60% ownership in the big tournaments this weekend. Martin Truex Jr., $10,300. He's starting in 8th. He's been a guy rostered more so at the 750 package races this season, not so much the 550. Had some solid finishes, 4th, 10th, 3rd, 29th, 6th, and 9th. It's not like he's been terrible, but in terms of dominator points, he's a much more of a dominator in the 750 package compared to the 550. Only 6.3 laps led per race, 8 fast laps. I just have a hard time seeing him lead laps over guys like Larson, Elliott, Hamlin, Busch, or Byrne in this weekend's race. I just have a hard time seeing him lead laps over guys like Larson, Elliott, Hamlin, Busch, even Byrne, Blaney in this week's race. So not huge on Martin Truex. Will probably be a little bit underweight compared to the field. Chase Elliott, $10,100. He's been pretty good at the low wear 1.5 mile tracks this season, just looking at the recent finishes at the intermediates. He finished 2nd at Las Vegas, 2nd at Charlotte, and 5th at Kansas, which are all similar tracks to Texas. So definitely think Chase Elliott makes sense. He's in a Hendrick car. I expect them to all run very well in this race. He has 3 top 5s, 5 top 10s. Not a ton of laps led and fast laps, but again, that's kind of all been soaked up by Kyle Larson in this package this year. So I think Elliott's definitely in play for me. He seems a bit cheap at $10,100. Speaking of drivers that are a bit cheap, I'd say the next 3 here, Denny, Hamm, Kyle Busch, and William Byrne, are some of the best plays on the slate because of their price points. I don't think there's a good reason that they should be below 10K. I think you could probably swap guys like Kevin Harvick and Truex for at least 2 of them, maybe even Chase Elliott. But I'd say Chase Elliott's probably priced appropriately, if not just a little bit underpriced. But Denny Hamm starting in second, $9,900. My projections like him a lot. He just won at Vegas, was dominant there. He's been great all season long. Ever since the playoffs started, Hamlin's been one of, if not the best driver so far. So at $9,900, he seems way too cheap. If you want to stack up the front with guys like Larson, Hamlin, or Busch this weekend, no problem with that whatsoever, because I think they're the 3 most likely guys to lead laps in this race. And they very well could. Denny Hamlin also has a win here at Texas, and just really hard to argue against the numbers for Hamlin, so I like him a lot at that price. Same goes for Kyle Busch, $900. He's starting in 3rd. His average finish at these tracks this year in the 550 package have been amazing. An average finish of 3.7. We know Kyle Larson's been amazing at these track types this year, but his average finish is 6.9. Like, Kyle Busch has been super consistent. 8 top 5s, which leads all drivers, 10 top 10s. So, having been in this package this year, he's finished inside the top 10, which no other driver can say. Second best is Larson with 8. A good chunk of laps led and fast laps. So I'm definitely a big fan of Kyle Busch here, $900. Way too cheap. Texas is a good track for him. He has 2 wins. The second best driver rating at 114.5, 3 top 5s, second most laps led, second most fast laps. Kyle Busch, recent finishes at intermediates, 3rd, 7th, 2nd, 3rd, 1st, and 5th. So definitely loving Kyle Busch. And yes, you can play guys like Hamlin and Busch with Larson, even though they're all starting very close to the front this weekend. I have no problem with that. William Byrne, $9,600. My projections love because he's been one of the best drivers in this package this year. In terms of average green flag speed at 1.5s, I think it ranks Larson, Denny Hamlin, Kyle Busch, William Byrne, then Chase Elliott. So it's kind of hard not to like all 5 of those drivers. They very well might be my 5 highest owned dominators on the slate. I did mention William Byrne does have the second most fast laps at these track types so far this year. So starting in 12th, he does offer you some place differential, unlike the other drivers we talked about. Ryan Blaney, $9,500. He's starting in 4th. I imagine Hamlin, Busch, and Byrne will carry a lot of ownership this weekend. So Ryan Blaney starting right behind the guys up in the top three, which are going to soak up a ton of ownership, which rightly so. Blaney could get overlooked a little bit, and Blaney is just a very good driver at these track types. He's, I believe, 6th in average game flag speed. He's good at Texas. He's got 3 top 5s here and 5 top 10s the past 6 races. The 3rd best driver rating, only behind Kevin Harvick and Kyle Busch. The 3rd most laps led, the 3rd most fast laps. Like, he is very darn good at Texas. His recent finishes at intermediates, 5th, 1st, 5th, 13th, 21st isn't super exciting. Then 1st in Atlanta. And he also has 2 wins and 6 top 5. So I can definitely get behind Ryan Blaney in tournaments. Should go a bit overlooked considering the other guys we have in this price range. Alex Bowman, $9,300. He's starting in 14th. I would say he's a worse version of William Byron. Not to really put him down here. I think he's still a fine play. He's got a win in 4 top 5s in this package this year. He just isn't quite the dominator or fast laps guy that his teammate William Byron is. Is starting a little bit further back, so if you want to pivot off of some potential higher ownership of William Byron, I think Bowman's fine in tournaments, but not super excited about it. But I don't have too many problems with it. Joey Logano, $9,100. He's starting in 5th. He is a bit cheap here, but I just been pretty much fading Logano in this air package, and it hasn't really burned me yet this year. The past 6 races, he's finished 11th, 33rd, 19th, 17th, 17th, and 15th, and it's not like those races he's had issues. Yes, Michigan, he finished 33rd, but he just doesn't have the speed in his car at this track type this year. I mean, average finish of 16.3, running position of 12.6, 0 top 5s and 3 top 10s with just a few laps led and few fast laps. I just don't see it happening. He starts right behind Blaney, Busch, Hamlin, and Kyle Larson, so I would be very shocked if he gets around those guys early on. So if you want to fade Logano, I would back you up there and say it's probably a strong idea, or at least be very underweight to the field. As far as Ross Chastain goes, he's kind of like Martin Truex, where I like to roster him in the 750 package races, because in the 550, not saying Truex has been quite as bad as Chastain in the 550, but just for example, I think you guys know what I mean. But Chastain in this package has been pretty brutal. Finishes of 23rd, 35th, 21st, 37th, 14th, and 14th is not bad for a guy that's starting in 25th. But average finish of 24.3 with a running position of 21.5, 0 top 5s, 0 top 10s, only 2 top 15s, and 3 top 20s and 10 chances. So I'm not a big fan of Ross Chastain here, especially in your $9,000 price tag. Although Kurt Busch, on the other hand, $8,700 starting at 17th, I think he's a just fine play. He has a win this season in the Zero package, 2 top 5s, 5 top 10s, running position of 13.5, a decent drive rating. He's got an okay average finish of 15.8, but he's had some pretty solid finishes, like I mentioned. And those finishes of 38th and 39th are definitely holding him back a little bit in that category, but 8th, 4th, and 1st last 3 intermediates. And Texas is a very good track for Kurt Busch. He's got 6 top 10s the past 6 races here. Average finish of 7.8 and a running position inside the top 10 with a driver rating just near 100. So Kurt Busch can definitely get behind starting in 17th. I think he's got a fair price point. Brad Keselowski, $8,500. Pretty cheap, starting in 7th place. He's been a lot better in this package this season compared to the 750. I won't say Texas is his greatest track. He's got no top 5s through the past 6 races and only 2 top 10s. But his recent finishes at intermediates are solid, 7th, 9th, 10th, 11th, and 3rd alone. And he's got 3 top 5s and 7 top 10s and 10 tries at these track types this season, with some of the most laps led and a decent chunk of fast laps. I don't think Keselowski's the worst play, $8,500, but I would say it's a very slim chance he gets out front and dominates. I'd be looking for a little bit more PD upside here. He is firmly a tournament play for me. I don't think there's a ton of upside for where he's starting. Christopher Bell, $8,300. He's starting 11th. Prefer him in the 750 compared to the 550. Like, he's capable of getting top 10s and top 5s. He's done it multiple times this season. Starting 11th, he's more of a tournament play for me. Not super excited about it. As if we're looking at his recent finishes, 24th, 13th, 8th, which that's a little sweet spot there, 13th and 8th. But again, he's starting 11th, and the other finishes have been 24th, 28th, and 21st. So not loving Christopher Bell here. The projections don't exactly love him either. So I will say he does have a top 5 here, but just the way they've been running this season, I don't think Christopher Bell is exactly the best play, but he's a tournament play. Eric Almirola, $8,100. He's starting in 22nd. Texas is a pretty good track for him. He's got 4 top 10s here the past 6 races. I played him here last year. I think he started on the pole. I want to say he didn't have brakes at one point. Ended up working out well. But it's been ugly for him this year in this package. He's been more of a 750 guy. Finishes of 19th, 17th, 23rd, 22nd, 29th, and 20th. And this is just him being slow. It's not like he's running into a ton of issues. Average finish of 23rd, running position of 20.5. Not huge on Eric Almirola here, even though it just offered you a PD upside. I'd rather play Chase Briscoe, to be honest. He's actually had the better finishes between the two. They're both on the same team. Stuart Haas finishes at 14th, 11th, and 15th the past 3 races. The other ones more so look like Eric Almirola, but I like the recent form at least. Throughout the season, he does have a better average finish in 10 races in this Aero package, starting at 26. I don't mind it. Problem is he's nearly $8,000, so he definitely feels a bit overpriced. I'd rather play Tyler Reddick, even though he starts a lot further up front, but at least he has top 10 potential. Chase Briscoe, you're kind of just praying for a top 15, really. But Reddick, I think, is a very solid play here. He's got finishes of 6th, 29th, we'll look past that, then 6th, 9th, and 7th. Like, he always has top 8 upside pretty much every single track. So far this season, average finish of 12.7, in position of 13.2, 6 top 10s, 7 top 15s, and 1 top 5 in this aero package, averaging nearly 40 DraftKings points per race. I think he can definitely be a guy that picks up fast laps and kind of hangs around the top 5 to top 10 for the majority of the day. I think he's a very strong tournament play. Same can be said for his teammate Austin Dillon, $7,500 starting in 15th. I have them projected for similar finishes in this race, and he starts a few spots further back, so it is great a little bit better projection-wise, but both guys are very strong tournament plays. Outside of that 36th place finish at Michigan recently, 13th, 12th, 6th, 10th, and 6th for Austin Dillon, and very similar averages to Tyler Reddick, so I like both these guys quite a bit for RCR. MDB, $7,400, he's starting in 13th. I think he's a fine play, kind of a similar play to Austin Dillon and Tyler Reddick, really. Looking at the last 3 finishes for him in intermediates, 12th, 6th, 9th, 18th, and 4th, and 11th. Like, he's got top 15 upside pretty much every single time. Outside of the 18th place finish, he has 5 top 15s the past 6 races at intermediates. I think MDB is certainly in play. He'll be lower owned than Tyler Reddick and Austin Dillon, at least in my opinion. That's what I have it as of right now. Although it is quite close, it won't be anything drastic, but I think MDB is fine if you just want to try to differentiate down low. We have Ricky Stenhouse and Ryan Newman. Both are just deep place differential plays that have top 15 upside at these track types this year, looking at their averages. More so Ricky Stenhouse. He has 6 top 15s in 10 races. Ryan Newman's only got 2 top 15s, but 5 top 20s. But for where they're starting, they are fine place differential plays. I'd be more inclined to play Ricky Stenhouse over Ryan Newman, but you can play both, but I will be heavier on Stenhouse. He's just shown more of a ceiling so far this season. Daniel Suarez, $1,600. Kind of in a similar boat to the other RCR cars and Tyler Reddick and Austin Dillon, where they're kind of starting mid-pack, although he starts a little bit further back than those guys this season, 19th compared to Austin Dillon in 15th and Tyler Reddick in 9th. But Daniel Suarez has 2 top 5s here at Texas. He has 6 top 15s and 7 top 20s in this package this year. So starting in 19th, I think he's a fine tournament play. He is pretty cheap too, about $1,000 cheaper than Austin Dillon and Tyler Reddick. So I definitely like Suarez at what should be lower ownership, even though he does project not too far off of those two in similar spots. Justin Haley's too expensive again. He's starting in 32nd. You're basically hoping for a top 30 out of Haley, and I want to spend nearly $7,000 for a guy. I'm hoping for a top 30. Eric Jones is $6,600. He's starting in 21st. His numbers in this package this year have been quite disappointing. Kind of going to finish probably right around where he starts. Average finish of 22.3, running position of 22.4, with only 3 top 20s and 1 top 15. So the upside for Eric Jones here starting in 21st at $6,600 is quite low. I'd rather play Chris Buescher, even though he starts in 10th place. But at least he has the chance to hold that. He has 3 top 10s in this package this year, 5 top 15s, and 9 top 20s, average finish of 15.1. And yes, I know the starting position is quite concerning, but that could help him hold that throughout the entire race. Bubba Wallace, $6,400, starting in 18th. It's not pretty, but he has shown top 15 upside this season in this package, so I wouldn't hate it, $6,400. Cole Custer, starting in 20th. It's been pretty ugly for him in this package this year. Similar to his teammate Eric Almirola, he's got an average finish nearly in 25th place, running position not too far behind that. No top 10s, no top 15s, and 2 top 20s. I wouldn't mind if he didn't have very much Cole Custer this weekend. Ryan Preece, $6,000, starting in 23rd. I'd rather have more Ryan Preece than I would Cole Custer, if that tells you anything. Ryan Preece at least has 2 top 15s and a top 10 to his name in this package this season. Starts a few spots further back. Michael Mcdowell, $5,800. He's starting in 16th. He started off the season pretty hot. He's definitely cooled off quite a bit. But his numbers in this package aren't terrible. He's finished 21st, 20th, the last 2 intermediates, then 27th, which is pretty gross, but then 20th, 13th, and 19th. Not that that's sexy or anything, but it's not terrible for a guy that's only $5,800. He also has 8 top 20s in this package this season. The problem is he's starting in 16th, so there's very little upside here, and he's more than likely going to move back, so I can't imagine myself playing too much Michael Mcdowell outside of 150 max tournaments. Corey LaJoie is a fine, cheap place differential player, only $5,700. At $5,700, my optimizer's been jamming in some laps just to make some things work up top, and I don't really see him going backwards too much. His average finish is like right around where he's starting in 29th here, so I'm not like super excited about it, but he has top 25, but he does have top 25 upside, and he just makes some things work up top. Anthony Alfredo in a very similar boat to Corey LaJoie. Then after that, I really can't recommend any of these guys for 334 lap race at 1.5. Timmy Hill, David Starr, no thank you. Joey Gase, no. Bilicki, no. McLeod, no. Smithley, Warehouse. It's just all really gross. So I can't really see myself going any of those directions. But with that being said, that'll be pretty much it for the video. So I hope it was helpful, and if it was, make sure to leave a like, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. If you want to take that one step further, become an official member over on Patreon. Link is down below in the description for that. I don't just cover NASCAR. I know the season is coming to a close, but we have NBA going on. NFL is full force right now. We're kind of getting the last trickle effects of MLB going on with the playoffs, but NASCAR is almost a year-round sport. We end in November, we have races in November, but we end in November, start right back up very early February. So it's pretty much all year round. We just have a couple months off. So lots to be excited about still, lots of extra content going over there. And if you do want to support the channel in any way possible, that's the best way to do it. And don't forget, this video was sponsored by PrizePicks. It's just you versus the projections, and as of right now, if you're new signing up there, you can get a free money bonus. It's an instant deposit match up to $100 when you use code CPEN and tell them I sent you. I love PrizePicks too. I don't just promote it. I play on it pretty much each and every single weekend in every single football slate. It's really fun. It's really fun playing in addition to DraftKings. I really recommend it. I've been able to have a lot of success over there as well. But I think it'll be pretty much it. I will start rambling. I'll see you guys in the next video. Make sure you check out the football content if you haven't yet done so as well.